Yo, what's up? Great news today. We finally have a precise list of changes for the upcoming big update. And here's the list with all the new changes except for the addition of new weapons and vehicles. This will come a bit later. But here are many adjustments for multiple weapons, multiple web maps, and even game mechanics. And I'm gonna show you the most important ones among them, since not everyone is really important. So first of all, some weapons got better aim stability. Many other weapons got reduced recoil, and many weapons also got reduced dispersion. So the big summary of this weapons and soldiers changes list is that some of the most played weapons, for example the FG42s for the Germans or the new T20 for the Americans, got significantly improved by making them easier to shoot, by making them easier to control basically while spraying. This is amazing. And also the FG42 finally starts in full auto mode, which is something people have been asking for 3 years or so. So yeah, okay, let's go ahead in the list. Also, finally, your Gold Order soldiers give you a squad where you put them in, plus 20% overall experience for every single soldier in the squad. Now this is great. This was announced months ago, well basically at the Rework update, I think 2 months ago, and not implemented yet, but now it is finally implemented. Very nice. Then AI soldiers are acting a bit more smart when they follow you or in multiple situations during battles and so on. This is good. Then you supply crates for the radio operator, meaning the ammo boxes you can drop for the radio operator, got a bit easier optics in the game to call them and drop them. Keep in mind the supply drop has a different timer apart from the artillery strike. So you don't lose the artillery strike, or you don't have to wait longer for the artillery strike if you use a supply drop. Alright, then regarding the FG42s, we already said the fire mode got changed. This is a significant improvement. I literally had to waste one button on my mouse, and I don't have many buttons on my mouse, so every button is precious, to have a one click to change the full auto, to change the semi-auto to full auto. This was extremely annoying, and this was especially annoying because you constantly have to think about that, and this really drags down your mental state when you constantly have to think about something and as annoying as that. And now this problem is solved, finally, because this was just one of the worst features in the game. And also, if you have big squads, for example riflemen, you don't have to constantly click from one web from the different fire modes now. When you switch from one soldier to the other, everything is smooth now, which is really, really good. And fun fact, the grenade launcher FG42 that was available on the event paratroopers, this was actually the worst FG42 weapon in the game, because not only did it have all the problems that the normal FG42 one has, but also since it's a paratrooper, you couldn't really put an ammo box on it or a second weapon, so it was forced to be only the one weapon, and you had to constantly click between switching from grenades to normal fire mode and from semi to full auto. So this was just an absolute hassle, and now this problem is solved. Next we have a spicy change that led to many sweatlord tears already, and it's the Gewehr Kurz, the Gewehr 43 Kurz, meaning the very rare experimental version of a Gewehr 43 that could shoot in full auto mode in real life. This Gold Order weapon was heralded as the strongest weapon in Enlisted for multiple years, though it never was. The reason it used to be called that way is that it's basically a 30-round semi-auto rifle that can shoot in 3 bullet bursts. So this is significantly better than a normal semi-auto rifle, and it's very easy to aim, because every time you click on someone, the soldier is gonna have 3 bullets flying into his area. So it's very likely 2 of them hit them and the target is dying. So yeah, it was very easy to get kills with it. Though it doesn't make the weapon necessarily better, because you run out very quickly. You very quickly run out of bullets, and if you're up against big groups of enemies, you can't just spray them away because there's no full auto mode. Now this weapon got changed. Instead of having the 3 bullet burst mode, which got removed from the weapon, this is why the sweatlords are crying, you now have a full auto mode, as in real life, with moderately slow 550 bullets per minute. Now, does this make the weapon better or not? Here's the answer. If you can aim well against groups of enemies, it's much better now. And if you're not good at aiming and controlling recoil, it got worse because it's harder to use. But overall, I would say the weapon is better now, because this is a really, really, really good long-range weapon now, since the damage is high, and due to this low recoil, low fire rate, and the low recoil the weapon always had, it makes it very easy to start shooting at heads and actually get headshots. So I would call the weapon better now than it was before, and it's still not that hard to use. So I bought 2 of those and was disappointed and said I just used FG42 too. But now I'm going to actually start using this weapon because I'm quite sure it's going to be really good. For those who don't have it, because it's not in the store, it will likely return end of this year, around the anniversary of Enlisted or Gaijin during November, somewhere during November, and definitely during Christmas. So get ready to save up some gold orders. This is going to be a very good buy once this weapon returns. Then we have the classification change for another great gold order weapon, RMN50. It's now a mortar and not a grenade launcher, so whenever you need to get some daily missions done, this counts as a mortar and not a grenade thrower. Yep, this is a minor change, but still can be useful, and also one of the greatest gold order weapons in general too. I recommend to buy this as well during the end of the year. Then we have a really nice change for the FG42 sniper version, because this weapon used to be great when it comes to, well, spraying enemies at mid-range, but anything that's even further away than, I would say, 100 meters, or even further away than 50 meters, was extremely bad because the weapon has an insane dispersion, despite being a sniper weapon, and despite having a 4 times magnification scope. So it's extremely hard to aim at targets close, or even mid-range to you, but these are the only targets you can reliably hit with it. And since you only have 20 bullets, you better hit your bullets, otherwise you quickly run out of bullets. So making this weapon much more precise, reducing the dispersion from 32 to 5 is really, really good. So yeah, this weapon I'm gonna play and show you in the upcoming days. Can't wait to test it out. Yeah, amazing weapon, extremely flavorful. Also in real life it was oftentimes used with a scope. And it's ironic that you can't properly use it in the game with a scope, until now at least. Then some preset problems solved with the LG42. Yep, whenever you got presets, it constantly was taking wrong versions, not the ones you wanted. And especially not upgraded versions, but this should be solved now. Then the SKT40 also got an accuracy improvement. Accuracy means less dispersion, by the way. And then a partial reload for a bunch of German SMGs and assault rifles. A sprint penalty added for the Type A LMG. Yeah, well, don't kick the poor Japanese weapons, they're already bad enough, but okay. And then an important series of changes. The FG42 family, so all FG42s, got increased recoil compensation and recoil impulse. This means, in simple words, they have less recoil and basically are easier to control while spraying. So yes, for those wondering, didn't they already have low recoil? Yes, especially the second FG42, but now it's even easier to control, making it extremely, extremely, extremely good. I made a video a couple months ago, the top 10 German weapons. One of my proudest videos. It was quite hard and long to make it, and the top 2 or top 3 picks were really, really controversial but good. And I don't make a spoiler, but I put the FG42 too, not where most people would expect it. Now it might actually be higher than before, because there's a certain threshold for a weapon. If the recoil gets so easy that you don't feel it anymore, you might as well just constantly spray into heads of groups of enemies. And then you get a headshot machine, and yeah, there's no stronger weapon than that. So the FG42 too is king of weapons again. and the first FG42 might actually be closer to the second FG42 in the future regarding how easy it's to control. And it says that this makes the weapons closer to the Type A and T20 family. This is a contradicting sentence because the Type A had extremely low recoil, was extremely easy to control, at least the full auto one. Even easier than the FG42. It's extremely, it's actually the strongest weapon in the game, by the way, because you don't feel any recoil when you shoot it. But the T20 is the exact opposite of both of these weapons. It has insane recoil, it's extremely hard to control. So it seems that the Type A and T20 were also improved, or at least the T20 got less recoil after this update coming in the next days, likely. Very likely this week, end of this week when the test server is closed. So yeah, this homogenizes the end game of all nations, because now all of the select fire weapons are much better, much stronger, and actually give people a reason to play them over assault rifles. Though there's always the danger that if the standard rifle becomes too strong, everyone's just going to round a round of 9-man rifleman squads featuring these rifles instead of machine guns and assault rifles. So yeah, there's always a balance to be kept in mind. Then ABS got also improved, which is good. Very cool, flavorful weapon. Though it had much worse recoil than the AVT. Now it might be actually better. Then also very good, less recoil for the big MG34. Very much needed. This weapon had ridiculously high recoil, sadly. Then belt-fed DP, I think BF4 machine gun for the Soviets also improved. Then improved accuracy for the Type 99 LMG for the Japanese, making it as precise as other weapons. Nice. Then some nerfs too, making some machine guns a bit slower when you're running around with them. And then finally the vehicles. Now there's an anti-kamikaze system that people were demanding. And it's actually a reasonable one, because some sweatlords or some crybabies were demanding ridiculously stupid things. And here's the system. When you crash your plane, when it's undamaged, so you didn't get touched by any enemies, you can't spawn a plane in the next spawn. So after you die, after you crashed, you can't take the next plane. Yeah, that's a reasonable, good solution. I think that's also exactly the solution that I proposed a couple weeks ago when this was discussed, because it's elegant, it's simple, and it's fair. And it literally exactly solves the issue of people cycling 3 planes constantly. And if you can cycle 3 planes, you can cycle planes for the whole game. So yeah, this prevents it. Very nice. Also, obviously, it's also fair. Now there's a little problem here, because some people will say, oh, but if you get even touched a little bit by an enemy, this allows you to circumvent this. And then you can still spawn, even despite, well, maybe you get 1% damage on your plane, which is nothing. But then you still get around this rule. Now, here's the important thing. The only way to have an anti-kamikaze system is either a soft rule that makes sense and works often, but not always, or to have a ridiculously oppressive rule, and then you just make the game bad. So you cannot have a perfect rule. Just like in real life, you cannot have perfect laws for most situations, because situations are too complicated, there can be thousands of exceptions, and you cannot make a law that fits all of exceptions. So, yep, people can circumvent this, but yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter that much, it's not that problematic. Also, one way people can circumvent it, if they absolutely want it, they can shoot a rocket while close to the ground, and then they take some damage, and then they basically damage themselves while kamikazing. Yes, but here's the problem. I don't see a realistic way how you could actually make a better kamikaze rule. So yeah. Also, people who are plane cycling, it's very few. For example, I could plane cycle when I play Germany, but I don't do it because it's not strong. Like most of the time, and this is the unpopular opinion, most of the time when your enemies are plane cycling, you get an advantage. Because it takes forever, and there are already penalties, by the way. You get a waiting penalty, your timer lasts longer if you want to respawn after you crashed. It's just extremely inefficient for enemies to plane cycle, because it takes forever to wait for a new spawn and then fly from across the map to the objective. So this is what people don't get. The costs of plane cycling are extremely high, and teams don't win if they plane cycle and kamikaze the whole time. They actually lose because of that. Because just spawning somewhere on the map on a rally point close to the objective would be much more impactful and much stronger. So the only problem plane cycling really has is that people are annoyed by it, yep. But here's the thing, if you really care about winning and become a better player, I would recommend just to view the same way as I do. When I see enemies plane cycling, I know, alright, our chance to win just got increased by 10 to 20%. So, yeah, and then I'm happy. And even if it annoys me a bit when I get blown up, doesn't matter. I have an easier way to win now. Also, the people who plane cycle are usually sweat lords who have 1,000 slots and all types of optimized squads and expensive squads. It's better if these players are wasting and masturbating in the air instead of actually being useful on the ground. So once again, another advantage for you. All right. Then, really good thing, you now get a notification when your APC gets blown up, because you never did. And this made it extremely hard to know whether you need to pick an APC or build another rally. Because maybe you had only an APC, not a rally, and now you know, oh wait, now we don't have either, so I have to place one. Also, you have to keep track whether how many APCs your team has. Now it's easier again. So yeah, this is a good and comfy improvement. And another good improvement is the recent addition to the German Air Force, which basically no one played because the plane sucked. The BF 109 K4. This weapon only had, I think, one 30mm cannon and then a bunch of two heavy machine guns. And that's it. And it had good flying characteristics, but still, that sucks. For a BF5 weapon, plane fighter that has to compete with the Focke-Wulf that has, I think, 4 20mm cannons and 2 heavy rockets. Yeah, that sucked. And this plane finally became viable because it has a heavy bomb now. Oh, this is good, because now you can blow up every tank in the game and blow up everything in the air and also strafe the ground. So this is the officially the best fighter plane now for the Germans on high BR, because yeah, this is better than the Focke-Wulf. Also much easier to fly than the Focke-Wulf, because Focke-Wulfs fly very badly. Also the P-63A, I don't know what plane it is, but it sounds like an American or British plane, also gets a heavy bomb. Yeah, actually don't have to find what it is. So yeah. Then the bombers that you call from the bomber raid in the Pacific fly higher now, making them harder to shoot down. Yeah, I guess they were lower than in other campaigns, so yeah, whatever. Then AI commanders can now use tank squads. Now, I hope this means that the AI is going to start spawning tanks if normal players don't. This would be actually good, because more tanks to shoot down, especially cool, strong tanks, is always fun. Yeah, they're always fun. And we can strongly assume that the tanks won't be controlled perfectly. So if you want to set up some cool anti-tank guns, knowing, alright, the AI is going to appear there, you can actually have a lot of fun shooting down the AI tank. So yeah, this is going to be cool. I hope this doesn't mean that AI can get into empty tanks or other bullshit. No, I think that actually means that AI is going to use tanks now. Very good, very fun. Then user face interchanges, nothing too big, except for you can skip the animation at the battle results screen. Now it depends on which animation, because there are multiple animations, but making it faster in general would be cool, because I hate the clicking at the top lower right side of the screen to get to the end result. So yeah, this would be nice. And then finally your friends list show whether you're in a group, in a battle, and when you were online last time. This is good because I constantly get invites while I'm either making a video, or I'm in a battle, or I'm in a group. So I can't accept. And now people know for everyone, alright, someone is in a group or not. So yeah, this is quite cool. Then some graphics optimizations. very much needed. The interface is going to look better, weapons are going to look better. Then some optimizations, also good, always making it, basically giving you free FPS. Everyone loves that. Improved light reflections could be great because light reflection and scattering is one of the highest impact aspect of how graphics look. And improving light scattering, fog dynamics and so on, and light interaction with water is something that brings games very close to nice realism. Then we have a bunch of location updates, sadly no new or completely new maps, but new missions for maps, meaning you can play maps from different directions. And this can actually save maps that are bad to making them interesting, or sometimes even switching game modes for maps can turn a mid map into a high quality, very fun map. So, okay, let's see, what are the good ones? First of all, Oma gets a Conquest. Now, Conquest got improved significantly recently. It's actually fun because now you can actually approach the game realistically in terms of you don't have to run around non-stop, what Conquest used to be. Now you can actually sit on an objective and defend it and have fun or flank enemies, and all the time investments you make can pay off. It wasn't the case before when Conquest was very short a couple of weeks ago. You basically wasted like 60% of your time during a match running around like an idiot and not really having fun. So Conquest got much better. Conquest and Oma could be really good because Oma is actually a nice map for Conquest since you have many buildings. And you can actually do some cool house fighting in this little city or town. So yeah, this could be good. Then some new Tenaro River invasion from the south. Tenaro River, starting where it always used to be, is annoying as hell and boring. Starting from the other side could actually make the map fun. So yeah, that would be cool. Then the Rezhev left bank invasion. I think it always used to start from the left bank, so we sadly don't see the other side. If it was the right bank, then it's actually the other side, though I think we always start on the left and this is just another part. Maybe from the other direction. Yeah, most likely the game will start from the other direction now, from this grain elevator, and not from the river part. But still, the map is quite cool overall, and this could be nice. Then Rezhev, okay, it always started on the left bank, because the Rezhev left bank conquest that had 3 points now starts on 5 points for conquest, which is great. Because 5-point conquest is usually much better than 3-point conquest. Not only does it last longer, it basically lasts like a normal invasion. It even would last longer now than short invasion games, because invasion can be basically bum rushed and sped run. This can't be anymore. So yeah, this could be cool. This could be really cool. Also, the Rezhev map offers some nice balance between closed infantry areas and open tank areas, like in the center of the city where you can spam tanks and even bomb. Now this could mean that this map becomes really nice interactive, possibly even better than the Rice Chancellery map in Berlin, which is the other great and only 5 capture points conquest game map in the game. And then a lot of improvements regarding where vehicles and infantry spawns, also improvements for especially Berlin, regarding how tanks can maneuver. Now, a couple months ago, I think 6 months ago, Berlin got decluttered, meaning lots of stuff on the roads was removed, where tanks usually got stuck, and also bots. And this got solved now. This got solved allegedly multiple times, but now it got another time solved, meaning even less nonsense lying around on the road, making it much easier to drive around with tanks there, which is really good because it's completely stupid how the heaviest tanks of the war get stuck in Berlin everywhere. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all, but alright. And the absolute last stuff, for some reason, if you were Gaijin's favorite customer and you logged in for 3 days every single day, you get a very special name decorator. Yes. Interesting. Let's see who's brave enough to actually pull up with this decorator in games. And then various optimizations for DirectX 12. For those who don't know, DirectX is a compilation, basically a a group of drivers, of graphical drivers, and if developers make games, they code the games so they work with different DirectX versions. For example, DirectX 12 is the most recent one. Before that, you had DirectX 11 from, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. And obviously, these are the two most used ones. And all games are coded for these two. Problem is, since it's almost, that's almost twice the work, but still it takes a lot of work to code it in the most recent one. If it's easier to just code it for the one that's used the longest. Usually what happens is that games work perfectly for one version but not for the other. And Enlisted also, as expected, works perfectly for DirectX 11 but not for X12. Although X12 is available since a couple of years. I tried DirectX 12 a couple months ago. It constantly created bugs and got me significant FPS drops. But maybe it works now, would be good, because since these drivers are more modern and updated and efficient, at least in theory, theoretically if the game is optimized for DirectX 12, you would get better graphics and better FPS for the same system. Yeah, so yeah, this is also something interesting to look out for. I'm gonna tell you later whether it actually is good now or not. And also the console people got some little improvements too. Well, yeah, very little improvements, but still. Alright, that's it. Now, obviously, that's nothing too spectacular, but lots of minor improvements which add up, especially if you're playing high BR. Like, I would say half of these improvements affect high BR, and then 30 affect mid BR, and low BR barely got anything. Well, still, for those who play the game for a bit longer, this is going to be really, really nice because, yeah, the game is going to be much more fun. And I might upload BR5 game footage soon because, yeah, it's time to whip out German's BR5 and fight for Berlin. Alright, let me know what you think. And last thing, you can test all of this on the test server, though I won't do it. Also, I don't recommend doing it because it requires you to download the whole game once again, have basically a second Enlisted game on your computer, log in there, and there you can play for 1.5 days this new updated version. Yes, and after that you have to uninstall it. Or you can keep it there and the next time there's another test server you have to update that. It's just a lot of work for not much new stuff, especially since we didn't get any new tanks or guns and planes, so yeah. But still, I'm gonna give you some updates in the community posts regarding whether there's some cool stuff going on. And until soon, goodbye.